Stories for Wednesday, June 26th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. There's so many things that I want to talk about, but the thing I am most excited about is that Threads is now working through the API with Buffer. If you have not used Buffer in the past, I highly recommend it. It lets you post to multiple social media platforms at the same time. You can have the app on your phone or a plugin in your browser. When you find something you want to share online on one of the social media platforms or all of them, you just hit the little Buffer button. You can write the caption that you want. You can make different captions for each platform. And now Threads is supported. Additionally, you can schedule with Threads through Buffer, cross-post, so you can share to Instagram, X, LinkedIn, Mastodon, and more with just one click. You can also manage and organize all your Threads ideas within Buffer. And you can post to the Fediverse as well because Threads supports the Fediverse. I will link to the Threads post from the Buffer team all about this. Be sure to check it out in the show notes. And since I brought up the Fediverse, let's do a quick update on that, also about Threads. The head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, posted on Threads, quote, "We're introducing the ability for users who turn on Fediverse sharing to see and like replies from people on other servers directly in Threads. We're also expanding the availability of the Fediverse beta experience to more than 100 countries and hope to roll it out soon." End quote. As a reminder, this means that if you want to connect to people on other social media platforms without joining those other social media platforms, Threads supports that, and now you can like people's posts on platforms you're not even on through Threads. I will link to what this looks like in the show notes so you can see it for yourself. And since I brought up the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, here is a quick tip from him on checking the insights on your posts. Here's the clip.
Some advice. When you're evaluating how something you post on Instagram does, make sure you keep track of how it's doing, not only over the first 2 days, but over the first week or two. Now, it's true most things you post are going to get most of their reach in, let's call it 2 days, but some things are more evergreen in nature. What's funny today might be funny in a week or 2 weeks. And a lot of what people consume on Instagram is from accounts they don't follow. We call those recommendations. And most recommendations are actually more than 2 days old. So keep an eye on engagement on those play counts, like counts, etc. Not only over those first 2 days, but over the first week, 2, or even 3. Also, small plug, engage in your comments over the first up to a week. It will help your engagement over time. Let me know what you think and if you want any more advice. Later.
I do think that point is extremely valid. Sometimes we get frustrated when content that we post does not perform well right away, but if the content is evergreen, meaning that people could be interested in it not just today or tomorrow, but potentially much longer than that, all it takes is one person to share it with their group and their friends share it with their friends and so forth. So continue to look at those insights over time. Okay, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a lot of different TikTok news things, including the steps that TikTok is taking to ensure that it will still be viable and usable in the United States. So stick around. Oh, hey, welcome back. Let's get into some TikTok news. First, in an effort to stay usable in the United States, TikTok has officially filed its opening brief with the federal court as part of its legal challenge against the United States government's Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, which was designed to force TikTok to be sold into U.S. ownership or to be banned from use in America by American citizens. In the brief, which I will link to in the show notes, it says in part, quote, "TikTok is an innovative online platform used by 170 million Americans. These Americans form part of a unique global community with more than 1 billion users worldwide, with whom they create, share, and view videos speaking and listening in the modern public square, and otherwise exploring the vast realms of human thought and knowledge. All of that will end on January 19th, 2025, when the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act will ban TikTok throughout the country." End quote. TikTok's legal team also notes in the brief, quote, that "never before has Congress silenced so much speech in a single act," end quote. The main emphasis of TikTok's case is that the Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act uses speculative justification to enact restrictions on TikTok specifically, despite providing no evidence of an immediate threat or concern. The complaint alleges that the primary focus is on the, quote, speculative possibility that TikTok could be misused in the future, not that it is, nor has been used as an influence vehicle in the past. The brief that TikTok submitted also says, quote, the act cannot survive First Amendment scrutiny at any step of the analysis. It advances no compelling interests, is not tailored, and disregards less restrictive alternatives. In addition, and independently, the act is unconstitutional because of its unique two-tiered system of speech regulation, which singles out TikTok for disfavor, end quote. I will link to the brief so you can read it for yourself if you would like. Perhaps you cannot sleep too well and you really wish that you could. This might be the thing that helps you fall asleep one night when you really want to get into some deep legal reading. But regardless, with what happens with TikTok, I will continue to keep you updated. In other TikTok news, they are continuing to emphasize shopping inside the TikTok app. And so they've launched 2 new programs to support small businesses that are looking to display and sell their items via in-stream shop displays. The 2 new programs are focused on supporting and empowering women-owned businesses and LGBTQIA+ businesses. If you fit one of those criteria and you would like to learn more, I will link to the press release from TikTok in the show notes so that you can read it for yourself. And lastly, in the TikTok news, the company has released their 2024 mid-year trend report, which is where they look at how creative bravery drives impact by piquing global curiosities, flipping traditional story arcs, and deepening trust between brands and their audiences. So if you want to get into all the data, this is the place that you want to look. This is a good time to mention that TikTok has a lot of creative educational tools available. They have a TikTok Creative Center, which has a wealth of knowledge. Honestly, it would take me hours to dig into all of this. They're not really audio clips that I could play on the show. I've been looking here to see if I could find something to show you how much knowledge and information you can get by going through some of this stuff. Not a good way to show that, but I will link to it in the show notes. Definitely check it out. I think that's one of those things where if you have some downtime or a sick day or something, dig into this. I bet you're going to come away with things you didn't know and things that you can use as strategies for your TikTok content creation. That is going to do it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening. If you would like to support the show and you don't want to hear ads, I now offer Patreon. You can get to that by going to the link in the show notes for Patreon. It is $3 a month to enjoy the show completely ad-free. Okay, rap song.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager but do not have a bachelor's degree, but actually that's factually a fraction of me. Another fraction's posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that, there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.